Macros, Mindset, and Muscles.
I'm Coach James.
And I'm Coach Brittany.
We're here to give you the truth about health and fitness.
No gimmicks, no bullshit, just facts.
What's up, Phoenix fam?
I like how you just waved to them. What's up, guys?
I didn't wave. I clicked it and my hand came up.
Oh, I thought you were like, yo, what's up?
No, like I clicked the recording and then I brought my hand up. So like it might have been perceived as a wave by you from where you're sitting.
I did. Well, it's cool. I thought it was in character.
Well, it wasn't. Anyways, all right, here we are recording another podcast. We got a great topic for you today. We know that a lot of people plan vacations throughout the year, and a lot of people just travel for work. And we're going to talk about how you can travel and still hit your goals. And specifically, like, we want to talk about, like, maybe the differences between, like, business and pleasure.
Yeah.
So let's hop right into it. A lot of people travel for work, and, you know, work is a part of like your lifestyle. You know, some people sit at a desk all day. Some people are very active. They have very like hands-on, like hard labor jobs, and you have people that travel a lot for their jobs too. So, you know, traveling presents its unique set of challenges when you're trying to hit your goals. But I think it's important when you're traveling for business that you still treat it as part of your lifestyle.
Yeah.
You know, especially if you travel all the time for work. You know, when you travel all the time for work, you're spending a lot of time on the road, or you're spending a lot of time in airports and things like that. So having some basic habits down and just having that basic knowledge can help you stay, you know, quote unquote, on track for your goals. And then you can save, you know, the true fun stuff for when you're on, you know, you're traveling for pleasure.
Yeah.
I think when you're traveling for business, you know, planning ahead is not a bad thing. I'm a planner anyways, and this is probably easier for me to say, you know, than it is for others to practically apply it. But I look at everything ahead of time. If I'm going to a certain airport and I know that my layover is, you know, a certain length of time, like I'm looking to see what my options are in the airport, what, you know, I'll even look at the menus. I plan everything ahead of time. We're about to go on a Disney cruise, which is also what kind of brought this whole topic on. And I've already looked at all the menus for the restaurants.
She showed me every menu for each special night.
Yeah.
She's like, do you know what you're going to order? I'm like, I'm just kind of going to wing it. This is a vacation for us, but it's a good idea to like have an idea what you're going to do. But like, I kind of want the surprise menu when I get there.
Well, and that's like, again, like we're going on vacation, but I also don't use vacation as a time to just like completely make myself feel like shit. And that's the difference. Like I enjoy myself, but I also know that physically I'm going to feel like crap, and I'm not going to really like truly be able to enjoy myself if I feel bogged down and I'm inflamed and miserably bloated and stuff because of my food choices. So while I have a balance of some fun, I still try to prioritize what I need, like protein in certain meals, veggies, you know, I'm not going to drink my calories, things like that. But that's vacation. Anyways, talking about business.
You're in a new place.
You're in a new place.
You're unfamiliar with what you just get there and you're like, oh, I don't know where to eat. I don't know what to do. I don't know. I got to work.
But the thing is planning takes the guesswork out of all that.
And planning isn't that difficult anymore. I mean, everybody has a smartphone.
It's right at your fingertips.
Right at your fingertips. It's a quick, okay, where's my hotel? And then you can just boop. And then on the maps, you can hit food. And it'll show you the options around there. And then you just boop. And it goes to their menu. And then a lot of places will have, like, sometimes they'll have the nutrition facts on those items. Or if you have MyFitnessPal, you know, you can find certain meals in there and have it logged. Like, you can stick, or grocery stores, there's all kinds of things you can do.
Well, and like you're saying, like, I mean, everybody has like a GPS on their phone, you know, a Maps app. When you're in the Maps app, like what I do is I'll pull up like wherever we're staying, and then I just zoom in and I search restaurants in the area.
Yeah.
And I'll look at all the restaurants in the area. And this is like whether I'm traveling for business or pleasure. You know, and then I'm like, okay, what should I go for that day. I try to eat things that like I don't have here, like wherever I am, like at home, I don't want to eat the same things that I always eat at home. So I look at the different restaurants and I pull up the menu. And, if you're eating at a mom and pop restaurant, they're probably not going to have the nutritional information on there. And that's okay. As long as you have the knowledge to like build a plate, you don't really have to track every single thing you put in your mouth. Building a plate is a skill and it's basic knowledge that you should have so that you can eat out and still enjoy yourself, be social, if you have business meetings or whatever. But you can still make, better choices. Like you don't have to be perfect, but you have to be smarter, especially if you have health conditions and you're really working hard on your goals. Like you can't use, I travel for work as a reason to not,
it's an excuse.
Yeah.
It's an excuse for bad behavior. Like, you're...
Well, it's not bad behavior, bad habits.
You normally wouldn't do those things, but you're like, oh, but I'm on a business trip, so I'm going to have all this, and then I'm going to have all these drinks and all this stuff, and it's fine because I'm traveling. But it's not just like one time. It keeps happening.
Yeah.
Then it becomes a problem.
Yeah, and that's like I said, like people who travel all the time for work, like this is your job. This is business. Like this is part of your lifestyle. You travel all the time for work. You know that you have to travel at certain times, and planning ahead for that makes a big difference. And it's like a lot of people think like when they travel, like they go for convenience more, and then they get frustrated because they're not like reaching their goals. But there's so many ways that you can still, you can still eat, like you can still entertain people or go to meetings or whatever. Like if you have work events, like you can still attend these things and still make better choices for you. Like they're not reasons to just go haywire all the time. Everywhere you go has a grocery store.
Yeah.
And most of these grocery stores, you can get a rotisserie chicken. You can get some frozen veggies. You can get salads and you can get some pre-cooked chicken. Throw that on there. You can do, even now, like they have frozen meals, like, like the frozen TV dinners that have decent amount of protein, they're lower in fat. Is the sodium high? Yeah. Is that something you need to worry about?
No.
If you have normal, like if you don't have hypertension or anything like that, like it's not really a concern. It's not going to kill you to eat one or two like high sodium frozen TV dinners. Like it would be okay. So, there's a million ways that you can stay on track. But I think the problem is that people just kind of tend to err on the side of like laziness instead of like doing the work to stay on track, like in these times.
Because most hotels, you're gonna have a mini fridge, you're gonna have
a microwave,
access to a microwave, whether it's in your room or in the
lobby.
There's ways around it. Before I even got into this, like I traveled for work and I had to live out of a hotel room for months at a time, and I would go to the grocery store and just had things in my mini fridge, and I just had the microwave, the little rice packs. Like you said, rotisserie chicken, things like that, those ready-made meals. Like, it can be done. It can be done. But, I was also operating on a per diem, so I had X amount of dollars per day that I was given to that for me to spend on groceries. And you get more bang for your buck if you go to the grocery store.
You really do. And I think a lot of that comes down to, like, people just wanting to be entertained with every meal that they eat, and especially, like, when they're out of town and they're not in their home, like, it's just easier to want to go out to eat. And again, we're not saying like that's not like a bad thing, but you can still go out to eat and be mindful.
Yeah.
You can, choose the steak and the baked potato over the fried chicken and the French fries.
Yeah.
You can tell them to not put butter on your steak, because steak on its own has enough fat in it.
That's delicious though.
Yeah. Well, I'm not saying don't. I'm just being mindful of these things. Like there's things that you can do when you're eating out that can still help you in this journey and not make it harder for you.
Yeah, there's always a better choice. You have a good choice. There's not really a wrong choice, but there's always a better choice. Make a good decision.
And even like, okay, hotels with like continental breakfast and stuff, right? Like the continental breakfast, like there's so many choices most of the time. Like they usually have some form of protein, whether it's in the source of sausage, bacon, eggs. They have like oatmeal or cereal. They have fruit. You literally have everything you need to have a decent start to your day. It might be a little bit more fat in the morning, like if you have eggs and say bacon with some fruit, but you can just be mindful and not have as much fat later in the day. So if you go out to eat later that night, maybe you do have like a grilled fish or a grilled chicken instead of, like a heavier, like a ribeye or, something like that.
Well, in some of those breakfasts, they'll have even small things of yogurt. So, you could have some eggs and then yogurt and then
fruit.
And some fruit.
And you have literally protein, carbs, fat. And you got some, and you have some micronutrients from the fruit, some fiber, vitamins, that good stuff. And like James said, like the breakfast is included in the cost of your hotel most of the time. So
if you're traveling for work, a lot of times that's maybe somebody else paying the bill on that. So
yeah,
save your money.
Yeah. It doesn't have to be so difficult.
But it's not every meal is entertainment. Like, just because you're out of town, like you don't have to celebrate that you're out of town every meal and have this big fancy thing that it's just food. It's just fuel. Like I'm not saying don't enjoy a meal, but also like not every meal is entertainment. Like we say the same thing to our clients here, even local and our coaching clients. Like people will get this idea in their head that every meal has to be this fancy experience that they have to go through. It's not. It's nutrition.
It's fuel for your body. Like your body needs calories to function. You need calories for basic stuff like breathing.
It's going to look the same when it comes out.
Blinking, sleeping, your hormones, thyroid function. Like all these things need calories. Yeah. It's fuel. It's literally fuel to keep your body running. And as far as like peer pressure goes, right? I wanted to kind of touch on this because a lot of people are afraid to like say, no, I don't want to do that because of the backlash that they get from people. And this happens, like this has happened to us even, You get around people and they're like, oh, you should just eat that. You should just have a drink. Like these things are so normalized that when people actually try to make healthier choices, you're looked at like an alien because, oh my gosh, they turn down the alcohol, or they're not taking advantage of the opportunity, the free drink or the dessert. Like you don't have to say yes to these things, like if it doesn't align with what you want for yourself, then don't do it. It's just like, in high school, they talk about peer pressure, with kids and drugs and things like that. Like, would you let your friends peer pressure you into doing drugs or, going and robbing a store? Like some of you are probably like, yeah, I would. But some of you are like, no, I wouldn't. Like, this is no different. Like, you're looking at it like, oh, it's not that big of a deal. But if you have health conditions and you have goals and your health is at risk for the long term because you are maybe a little heavier, then it's okay to say no if it doesn't align with what you want for your body and yourself.
Yeah, it's like people want you to make them feel better for their bad choices. If you're taking part in it, then it's okay. Like nobody, but when you kind of draw a line in it, they're like, this dude thinks he's better than me or something. But it's not. Like you're just prioritizing your own health and your own goals.
Like you're the person that has to live in your body. You're the one that has to feel your everyday aches and pains. Like only you know what it feels like to live like you.
Yeah.
And I think that is something that like people just don't take into consideration. They're so worried about making everyone around them like not feel uncomfortable or they don't want to feel left out. Like it's okay. There's plenty of times where I brought my own meal prep to an event or whatever because eating whatever was offered didn't align with my goals. And that's okay. Like it's not about in that moment, like if I have a goal, I'm not focused on, that short term, like hit of dopamine that I get from that meal. I'm focused on the long term and what I want for myself.
Gosh, talking about that, like, I just had like a flashback when you said bringing meal prep to like 2 years ago, taking my meal prep, and it was a holiday to my parents' house, but that's because I had a goal that I was working on at the time, and I was like just dead set, like I was not going to be tempted by the food that was there. Like I had my own stuff. Not saying everybody has to do that, but
I mean, when we were like a week out from our show, we went, kayaking down the river. It was like a 6-hour river trip. And we were eating like chicken, asparagus, and mustard while everyone else is drinking alcohol and having a grand old time,
Oh, they were loving life too. Everybody's having a great time, and here we are. I got a little Ziploc bag of chicken and mustard all over me, and they're just like, "Man, y'all are in great shape." Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks. I think I'm dying.
Yeah. And we did. Like, it was miserable, but we did it because, like, we still wanted to be part of the moment.
Yeah, it was fun.
But we also knew, like, we had a goal. And, like, we were, a week out from our show, or was it 2 weeks?
It was like 2 weeks.
Yeah. So we were, like, 2 weeks out from our show, like, we're not going to, for the sake of, like, peer pressure, cave in and mess up our goals because like somebody else is a little uncomfortable that, we're making this choice for ourselves.
Yeah. I mean, if you're going into a situation, like, you know if there's going to be food or not. I mean, you're making a decision. Like, you can either go ahead and eat something before, like, that's on your plan, or have a plan of what you're going to eat when you get there. But don't get there and be like, oh, there's food. I didn't know there's going to be food, and I guess I'll just get that. Like,
Yeah.
You eat every day, and certain events are going to have food. You kind of got an idea what kind of food it's going to be. Like, it's not a surprise.
And I mean, if you're tracking macros and you've been tracking macros for any amount of time, like you have a general idea of what a serving size is and what it looks like. You can recognize carbs, proteins, fats, things like that, So if you go to a work event or a holiday party or something and, they're serving food, like your basic knowledge can kick in and will it be exact? No, but can you build a plate with the knowledge that you have? 9 times out of 10, you can,
And feel good about your decision.
Yeah.
Like, feel good about like your choice. Like, yeah, I took control of this. Like, I'm still on plan. I didn't fuck up. I'm good.
Yeah. Like, I still enjoyed myself. I just didn't, go overboard. I didn't eat till I'm miserable. I didn't drink until I blacked out. Like, and that's a thing too. Like, we talk about alcohol and, we don't drink, but it doesn't mean that we expect that of our clients. Like, that's our personal choice and that's okay. But if we have clients that drink, like, we're not going to tell them, oh, you shouldn't drink. It's poison, even though it is poison. Like, we don't, like, this is your life. I don't have to live your life. You have to live your life. Yeah. And if, having a drink is part of your lifestyle, then that's fine. Let's make it work for you. Let's figure out, what you need to include that in your lifestyle while still prioritizing what your body needs.
Yeah. A lot of people going on vacation is doing that. Like, that's a big part of their vacation diet.
Yeah. So, traveling for business doesn't have to be like a miserable thing. You do need to take it into consideration because it's part of your lifestyle. And we talked about like flying, looking at potential like restaurants in the airport, whatever. But what about like when you're driving? A lot of people drive places and they're on the road a lot. There's so many ways that you could go with this. I mean, if you're driving, like you obviously can bring all of your own food and you can even bring your food when you're flying now too. Like, nice. I don't know what all the TSA standards are and how to package it because I haven't researched that. I'll just buy what I need when I get there.
Contact the TSA on that one.
Yeah. You can visit the website, tsa.gov.
Yeah.
But as far as driving goes, like, I mean, you can literally prep all of your food and take it with you, or at least like if you know that you want to prep your breakfast and your lunch and maybe you're going to eat dinner out every night. Like that's a plan.
That is a plan.
That's a plan. Like you can have lower calories during the day and save more for your nighttime meal because you're eating out. But like when you're traveling, you can put your meal, like your food in meal prep containers and have it ready to go. They make food warmers that you can plug into your car. It's called a Hot Logic. Like we have a Hot Logic in our car. And when we're like tight on our meal prep, we will use the Hot Logic and we'll warm our food like as we're driving. And then when we need to eat, we'll stop and we'll eat. Yeah. Like you can do that. You can make sandwiches. I don't know why people stopped eating sandwiches. I don't understand this.
I'm still eating them.
I mean, I still eat them too.
Sandwiches are delicious.
But it's like you get a sandwich with bread. What's bread? Carbs. And then you put meat on it. What's that? Protein. You put some veggies on it. Bam. Micronutrients.
I'll leave those off my sandwich. Maybe some onions and pickles or something.
But you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like a sandwich is awesome.
Yeah,
like stop knocking the sandwich. And guess what? Even if you don't bring your food, like you can get a gas station sandwich, like, is it the best? Probably not. It's got some extra preservatives and stuff in it, but whatever.
There's all kinds of, they got yogurts.
Beef jerky. I love beef jerky.
Protein shakes.
Beef jerky is like one of my favorite road trip snacks because you get like a bunch of protein, and if you know how to like look at the labels and stuff, again, I'm not a label snob, so I don't look at all that intensely, but I do like to like keep my carbs in my jerky lower, and I like to keep the fat lower too, like 1 gram or less per serving. And like I'll eat a whole bag of that. Like no lie.
She loves it. Buc-ee's. We never pass a Buc-ee's because there's like an entire wall of beef jerky.
He'll get his flavors. I'll get mine.
Yeah, we'll drop a few $100s off at Buc-ee's every time. And it never fails. We're coming out with T-shirts, even though we got T-shirts. We're going to get a new T-shirt.
Yeah. Brisket, of course. Whether it's breakfast or lunchtime, like we're getting something.
But we do. It takes some effort. If you can't act like you're surprised by this. Like you either plan or you don't.
And like I feel like protein is getting so much easier to hit, like for people traveling like on the road and stuff. Like most gas stations carry protein shakes now. If they don't have protein shakes, they have Fairlife milk, which milk, it can be inflammatory for some people. Some people it doesn't bother. So, it's all dependent on the person, but there's so many options out there. There's no reason why you can't stay focused. Like just because you're traveling, just because you're driving, it doesn't mean you have to go haywire the whole time you're gone.
Yeah. I mean, it's a lot of times I think everybody just uses, I'm traveling, I'm on vacation, it's business. And from their point on, it's just, I'm going to eat whatever. Like that's my excuse. Like I'm just going to do it. I have the knowledge to to be on track, but I don't want to.
Yeah, and then because it's just easier to be like, I'll just do it when I get back home.
Maybe whatever, for whatever reason, they just go ahead and put that excuse and just give themselves a pass. And you could just as easily be on track and feel good about the trip instead of coming back and be like, oh, I'm 15 pounds up or 10 pounds up, and I don't know why. You know why.
Yeah, but I think this is specifically towards like business being part of your life.
Okay. Oh, yeah, no, we're on business.
Vacation, I feel like my personal opinion is like vacations are about making memories. It's like there's a time to be restrictive and there's a time to enjoy your life. And what's the point of being restrictive and hitting your goals if you're not going to enjoy the moments, that matter the most, like vacations with your families? I don't want to go on a Disney trip or a Disney cruise and be miserable and I say be miserable, but like, I don't want to be restrictive on those trips because that is miserable, Now business is a different thing, but when you're like on vacation for pleasure, first of all, a lot of people still want to work out on vacations and a lot of people don't. And that's okay. Either way, honestly, most people move more on vacation than they do in their everyday life. So their activity level increases just because they're more active day to day when they're on vacation.
And with our clients, like we don't ask them to work out when they're on vacation. For the most part, if they're in a competition prep or something, like
That's different.
That's a whole different ballgame. But like you said, their movement's going to be up. They're going to get way more steps than they typically do, and we want them to enjoy that time with their family and have those memories. I mean, why do you work your ass off for your whole, the whole year
To feel good.
Like it may be years and years since the last time you've gone on a vacation. And like you don't know when you'll have this chance again. Like enjoy it.
Yeah, and some people do like working out on vacations. I mean, we're those people.
Yeah.
We enjoy waking up early. Like, we always wake up early. It don't matter if we're at home or not. Like, we're waking up probably 4 a.m. We're knocking things out. We're going to work out, and I like to start my day like that on vacation. And some of our clients are like that too, and that's great. Like, we don't require it. But if that's something that you want to do for you, like, we're going to support you. If you don't want to, we're still going to support you. So we'll like make special workouts for the clients. Like they'll send us pictures of their hotel gyms or they'll tell us the hotel and we'll look it up ourselves, and we do the same thing for ourselves too. Like you think I haven't already stalked the gym on the ship and like know what's there?
It's going to be nice.
Like I know everything that's there. Like I know what I'm doing.
She knows everything about this trip. Everything. I mean, she's looked up, we know the weather forecast for the flights and where we're going, and then the sea and how rough waters, and maybe this, maybe not this, every kind of plane, and she's a planner.
But even, like in 2021, when I went to Disney and I took the kids to Disney, like I still woke up and worked out before everybody. I got up, I had my workout, I did whatever cardio I had to do. I had my morning coffee sitting on the beach at the Polynesian resort, like while the sun came up. Like that was my morning routine there. It was beautiful.
Yeah, keep bragging.
And, at Disney, like Disney is like a whole nother level because the amount of movement that you get in at Disney, like you can almost eat anything you want and be okay because the Disney steps that you get are ridiculous. Like an average day is about 20,000 steps.
Your heart rate's probably through the roof too when you see the bill when you go out to dinner, from what I hear.
And if if you're like an Animal Kingdom, like a bigger park, your steps are even higher. Like you might have a 30,000 step day. But people move more on vacation than they do in everyday life.
Right.
So it's not as bad.
The big difference between like doing it for business and then vacation is business is a lot of times it's short duration, maybe a day, 2 days. It might even be a week, whatever. But, and it's spread out versus you're in your normal life and then all of a sudden you have a vacation, and you have this window to form all these like memorable moments like with your family or friends or whatever. I think that's the big difference. Like with the business, like there's a way to stay on plan and it'll help you in the long run to stay on plan. On vacation, if you want to be mindful and, and you've learned things, like you can, be more protein focused and, but enjoy those memories with your family because you're getting way more activity than you probably think you are on your vacation versus like the business trip where you're sitting and then you're in a flight and then you're in an office and then you're sitting at your hotel.
Or you're driving and you're sitting.
Because you're also not even probably got your own vehicle, whatever.
But also like your kids are watching you too, right? When you're on vacation and you have kids and you're with your family, like you're setting an example for those around you. And, you don't want to force disordered eating on your kids. Like, talking about like this food is good and this food is bad, or I can't have that. Like, they pick up on that stuff too. And, like disordered eating habits, you don't want to, how am I trying to word this? Like viewing food as like super pure or super bad is an eating disorder on its own, orthorexia. Like that's something that a lot of people don't talk about, but it's like the fear of like having lower quality foods in your diet. And what we see a lot of is people projecting their orthorexia onto like the general public. And if you as a parent are, projecting this type of thinking onto your kids, like that's not good for them either.
No.
Like you should enjoy yourself on vacations and you should work hard the rest of the time in your life so that you can enjoy vacations and it not be detrimental or making you feel like crap. Like we said, like you don't have to just eat, whatever all the time just because you're on vacation.
Yeah.
Like you can, if that's your choice, but it doesn't mean you have to.
Yeah, I mean, you can enjoy the time without like binging, like intentionally binging. Like, oh, this is I've got this window I can eat. I'm just gonna eat whatever I want forever. Like, and then afterwards you're gonna feel bad.
You feel sluggish and you're crashing and you're bloating.
Physically gonna feel
like you
bad.
physically feel like ill in a way because you're just throwing all this stuff in your body, So I know, like, I'm not a big eater of fried foods.
Yeah,
like we rarely
stay clear of certain foods. I'm sorry, I didn't interrupt.
It's okay. Like we rarely eat fried foods, but I know like we're going to have dinner in one of the adult only restaurants while we're on the ship. And I know that one of the appetizers is calamari. It's fried. And that's one of the things that I will eat.
Yep.
That's fried. Like there's certain things that I will eat from certain places, like on occasion.
Like
but
fried pickles. I have a couple fried foods that for everything else I'm like, no, I'm not doing it.
But most of the time, like I'm gonna pick like a grilled chicken or a grilled fish or like something like that along those lines. And I'm gonna pick a veggie and I'll pick a baked potato or a sweet potato. Like I prefer that, and I don't feel like I'm deprived or I'm missing out because I choose those things.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Oh, fried pickles.
I just know that I prefer to make choices that make me feel better.
Yeah. And I know when I've eaten something that doesn't go well with my body.
I mean, we've had plenty of times where we eat things and we crash because we feel like, one, the hit of sugar. Like we've done funnel cakes before. Like we'll be sitting here one night and we're like, hey, I ordered us funnel cakes, or hey, I ordered us cookies on a free meal night, and then we eat that and we're like, oh, I shouldn't have eaten that. I feel like crap.
It's like it sounds good, and but the reality is my body just doesn't like certain foods, certain types of foods.
Do they taste good? Yeah, tastes great.
My stomach hurts. I bloat. I'm tired. I'm sleepy. I'm slow to get out of bed the next morning, and
everything's achy because the inflammation from the food.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's I think like when you get in this journey and you really hone in on like what you like and what makes you feel good, like your body, like you get in tune with it in such a different way. Because like I'm more aware of my body and like symptoms now than I ever was like, 8 years ago. I know that when I eat things like fried foods, or when I eat, a heavily processed snack, or I eat too much sugar, like I get a lot of inflammation, and that inflammation causes my back to hurt. Like I have degenerative disc disease in my lumbar spine, and I have some osteoarthritis down there. I get reoccurring like disc bulges, herniations, and when I eat lower quality foods, like when I eat more fun foods, I don't have as much fun because I hurt physically.
And so the way that ends up playing out is she's eating something, or I'll use you as an example. You're my wife. I can do that. Eat something. It's caused this inflammation, which has inflamed your back, right? So it's harder for you to move around. So your movement is down. You may even have to move a workout, whatever. And so it just snowballs.
Mm-hmm. And then it all like compounds.
It all compounds. And then because your back is hurting and you're not able, your movement is down, your back is stiffer because of the lack of movement. Mm-hmm. And it makes it hurt worse. Yeah. It's this little like circle of life looking thing. I don't know what you want to call it, synergy or whatever. It's horrible though. It's like you get stuck in it because it hurts. You can't hardly do anything because you're not doing anything. it continues to hurt and stay stiff.
And I'm very aware of it too. Like I know, like if my back starts aching, like the first thing I do is like one, I'm looking at like I'm analyzing my food for the last several days. Like have I been a little bit more loosey goosey, or like have I been on? Like what have I done that might have aggravated it? You know, what's the weather like? Because apparently my back predicts the weather now too.
Yeah, she caught that from me.
Yeah. So, you know, but most of the time, like if I'm getting super achy, it's usually because like I sat too much or because of food choices.
Yeah.
But that's a whole nother topic. We're kind of, we're just kind
like
of veered off.
Teasing the next episode. I know just can't wait for that one.
So we're like talking back to business versus pleasure traveling. One thing we didn't talk about was like working out, you know, while you're traveling for work. And again, like we kind of talked about how a lot of hotels have gyms and stuff. And, you know, obviously you're going to have to modify it because your hotel gym isn't going to have everything that you're used to having. But something is always better than nothing, you know, whether it's 15 minutes on your lunch break or whatever, like something is better than not doing anything. Mm-hmm. And you can still help create like a sense of normalcy in your routine by continuing to work out, like while you're traveling for work.
Yeah, and I mean, there's some easy things that you can do. Like you said, some hotels already have a gym for the most part. You could get a set of bands that you could travel with because it's you know, it doesn't take up much room. I've seen truck drivers that would have bands and a set of dumbbells in their truck because they're doing these long drives and stuff like that, and using body weight and dumbbells and bands, you know, and they're sedentary almost most of the time unless they make themselves get out of the truck and do certain things, and that's why they're a high risk for clots in their lower extremities, and they have certain issues. That's why it's good for them to get out and to do those movements and get their blood circulating. And but there's always a will if there's a way.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be extreme either. And I think that's like the big takeaway from this is like making things part of your life, but not making them like your whole life. Like like we say, there's a time to be restrictive. There's a time to focus on your goals, and there's a time to have fun. You know, you don't want to have all the fun when you don't really want to have fun. And then when you when you want to have the fun, you feel guilty about it because you've been having fun the whole time.
Yeah.
Like, I just prefer to save my fun times for vacation, for memories, you know, like we've been looking forward to this trip. I mean, I booked it on May 4th of 23. So it's been quite a while, and we're due, by the time y'all are listening to this, we will be on the ship. So we've been waiting and planning and just talking about like food, because we're also going to get an opportunity to eat food that we normally wouldn't eat, you know, like I've never had duck before, but I'm going to try it.
She knows what meal that's on too.
Yeah. Duck confit.
She's like, looked at the seating arrangements, and she did background checks with everybody that were sitting there. And it's fine. It's fine.
But, you know, I think like when you're traveling for a vacation, that is part of the fun, is trying new things. And especially like on a cruise when everything is like part of the price, you know, like I don't think there's a better time to try things. And I know that cruise food isn't always the best, you know, it can be blander because they're cooking for a lot more people, a lot more tastes, but
no complaints.
Like I'm looking forward to trying new things.
Yes, I'm gonna try all the things.
All the things.
I'm gonna have my fun while I'm having fun.
All right. So the main takeaway from this episode that we hope you get is, you know, there's a time to be strict. There's a time to have fun. You know, if you travel a lot for work, that's part of your lifestyle, and you need to like accommodate your goals in that lifestyle. You can't use traveling as a reason why you're not hitting your goals. Like if there's a will, there's a way. You know, if you're going on a vacation, like if you want to work out, cool. If you want to stay, you know, focused on your food, cool. If not, like it's about making memories and having fun, but you also don't have to go crazy either. Like you can set a limit for yourself, you know, like, okay, I'm going to eat breakfast and lunch, you know, focused around like protein and veggies. And then for dinner, I'm going to have whatever I want. You know, you can set those type of like standards for yourself, and it's okay. But
And then maybe even pick activities that you might know are going to give you a little more movement.
yeah, hiking, walks on the beach,
Yeah, that sounds so terrible to have dinner and, and then go walk on the beach.
Yeah.
Gosh, that's so terrible.
Sounds awful.
Yeah.
Exercise. Blech. So hopefully this helps. We are checking out of here. We hope y'all have a great week, and you will hear from us after our cruise next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to Macros, Mindset, and Muscles. Until next time,
I'm James.
I'm Brittany. We're out.